Today's youth need teachers, volunteers, and most of all, well, they need you. I'm Doug Edwards, and I'm going to be talking with real youth mentors and students to give you the knowledge you need to be the best youth worker possible. This is Youth Worker on Fire.
Oh, you're trying to bring me down and run me out of town. You're taking what you want, but you can't take my rhythm now. I'm walking to my own beat, just gonna be me. I'm not replicating nobody.
We spend a lot of time helping other people, students or volunteers or our staff, if we have hired staff. So we're thinking about them. We're trying to do things for them a lot. I think about things that are outside of that some to help me just kind of get through and feel better about something that's bigger than me, and thought processes are bigger than what I'm having to use. There's so much information that you and I have that we don't even get to share with people because there's not a context. They're not ready for it. If they're students especially, there's only so much you can give them at a time. If it's your volunteer staff, there's only so much you can give them at a time. And quite frankly, there's something really good about the fact that we have to dummy things down because Jesus did that all the time. That's why he spoke in parables. That's why he had to explain truths to his disciples, and why he said, let the little children come to me. The simple truths are the biggest truths. There's no doubt. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves of where those solid truths and simple truths came from. And so I like to listen to some pastors that are just so far beyond where I've ever been or going to be. Not that I didn't want to be at one point in my life, thought we were going there, not necessarily as a pastor, but in outreach to the world and different things like that. And some of you, you're turned off by people that I might listen to, and some people may have just stopped listening to this podcast because you don't like some of the people I quote or some of the people I've talked about. But I really, really like Andy Stanley. He's got negative things written about him, but here's what I found. Anybody that's doing something good, doing something bigger than the average person, has something bad written about him. But in this one series, I think it is so thought-provoking. Even if you like or don't like what he has to say, I think it's going to be good for you to think about these things anyway. It's to me, a fun 4-part series in his podcast, and the 4-part series is called The Bible for Grown-Ups. How's that for a title? If you are not an adolescent, and it's probably good for some adolescents that are really thinkers and are really processing and trying to. Those are rare, I know, but they are there. Each of our student ministries have them, and oftentimes they come in the realm of, I'm kind of bored. This is really beneath me. Some of them, and some of them are really are seekers. Many people came to know Christ because of someone who just asked Jesus in their heart, and the excitement. They had no idea what they were talking about except to say, here's where I was. Here's what happened to me. Here's how God changed me. Do you want this too? And that was what was going around in Jerusalem first, because remember, the whole Christianity thing came out of the Jewish nation. Most of the first church, except for a few, what the scriptures call Gentiles here and there, were Jewish converts with, a few Roman soldiers here and there too, a few Samaritans. The first church was all about this community, and then Paul comes into the scene and goes through there. So he goes into some of this stuff and makes you think about things you never thought about. The New Testament itself was written over a period of about 70 years, if I've got all my dates right. Just a thought for you. Thought you'd like to maybe know something to listen to that would stretch you. I'll try to give you more information on more things like that. But for now, Youth Worker Nation and our friends and listeners, you have a great day, and I will talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the Youth Worker on Fire podcast. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and tell your friends. Also, leave a comment and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for more informative episodes.